Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our response and recovery call for Monday, January 11th, 2021. My name is Bettina Swigger, and I'm the CEO of Downtown SLO. Hello to many of you who've been with us faithfully every Monday since March. And if this is the first time you're joining our call, welcome. We're happy to have you. This is our opportunity to get together as a downtown community and talk a little bit about what's going on in the ever-changing reality that is the COVID-19 stay-at-home order, the economic situation, and just our chance to connect with each other. So thanks for being here, and we'll go ahead and get started. Our board of directors is usually in attendance on these Monday meetings. Hello to all of you. If you are on the board of directors, a reminder that we do have our board meeting tomorrow morning at 7:30, and I sent out the board packet to you last week. So looking forward to connecting with you all in that format, and thank you all to for your service. It's always nice to see your smiling faces on this page when we pull it up on the deck each week. So the Light Up Downtown program, I'm going to start off with some good news and some glimmers of hope today on this Monday. It's kind of gray Monday, although the sun is starting to come out a little bit. The Light Up Downtown program, that was our holiday initiative, has been so successful that we're going to be extending parts of it through 2021. So you will note that Mission Plaza, which was sort of the centerpiece of the Light Up Downtown program, looks a little different. Santa's house moved back to the North Pole for the next year, and some of the other decorations have come down. But we do still have a fun interactive selfie wall, a mural by Canned Pineapple, and this 2021 pod. Tomorrow, actually, let me first back up and say that the zigzag bistro lights that are across the street that have been so enthusiastically received by not just the businesses downtown, but all of the people who visit, are going to be up for now through, I believe, the end of February. And they were installed on a temporary basis, which means you can see in this photo that they're anchored onto some trees and also to some privately owned buildings. So a thank you to all of you who allowed the city and the event planners access to those anchor points for those lights. It's really exciting to see the way it moves the eye up and down the streets, and also how these types of lighting experiences can encourage people to walk further on foot. All part of our goal to make downtown a more walkable, more dynamic community. So that program is going to be extended, and the city is also looking into ways to make that a permanent installation. And I'm sure at future calls, we'll be talking about what that will look like. But it's a great example of how something that might come in as a temporary sort of holiday activity could actually become something that we'll see for months and years to come. Also in Mission Plaza, we are going to have, in addition to that very fun Disco Pod 2021 kind of selfie station, we are going to have a light up rainbow tunnel that will be coming in, and that'll get installed this week. And a big thanks to Carson Butler Events and the City of SLO for continuing to provide a little bit of light, the actual tunnel and the light at the end of the tunnel in the Mission Plaza. So this is just an additional opportunity to bring people downtown. We are in a stay-at-home order, but there are still opportunities to take a walk. And so as people walk downtown and they purchase takeout from our local restaurants and go shopping in our local shops, they can also visit Mission Plaza for a really fun light up experience. And we'll look forward to seeing that go live this week. Also in Mission Plaza, we are launching a community art project, and this is a little bit along the line of kind of the success we had with our Letters to Santa program in December. And this is called the Intention Initiative. And the idea behind this is it's going to be a 2021 community art project, and we want to hear from you your wishes, intentions, and goals for the new year. There will be a drop box in Mission Plaza where you can write your wishes and intentions and goals. We'll also have an online form available, and we will then display those wishes in a variety of different formats, starting off in our office window at 1135 Choro, and potentially expanding to other windows around downtown. So this is a way for us to continue to keep the optimism and the resilient spirit alive, even though we are in some difficult times right now. So the Intention Initiative will go live this week, and look for more information about that in the member email, which will go out tomorrow, and also in the weekly delivery, which is our downtown email newsletter that reaches about 4,000 people each week. So with that, let's go into the COVID-19 reality. I'm going to welcome Rachel Maiorino, our COO, to walk us through where we're at today.
Thanks, Bettina. Good morning, everybody. Last week, for those of you who maybe weren't here, I shared a comparison of a 2-week span for COVID numbers. This week, I'm going to condense that and share a 1-week comparison from a week ago. A reminder for the numbers that they aren't updated during the weekend or holidays. So for example, the numbers I'm going to share today, considering it a week ago, it's technically December 31st to what's known as today's reality, which is actually January 8th, based on the numbers, but still a 1-week span. So a week ago, there were 10,397 cases of COVID-19 reported in SLO County. As of January 8th, 12,891. 1 week ago, the city of SLO accounted for 2,172 of those cases. As of January 8th, we account for 2,519. 1 week ago, the total number of deaths due to COVID-19 was 82 in the county. As of January 8th, 101 people. That's 19 people in the last week. Our condolences go out to the family and friends of the 101 people we have lost in our community. With that, really encouraging that testing is available for all who are symptomatic and asymptomatic who may have been exposed, and readyslo.org is the resource to learn more about any of these numbers, as well as how to get tested should any of those categories fall into your personal life. We do remain under the stay-at-home order, as Bettina said, as the ICU capacity remains low. The Southern California region as a whole remains at 0%, as well as the San Joaquin Valley, they also remain at 0%, and the Bay Area has dropped down to 3%. Looking up into SAC, as well as Northern California, they have a bit more, but just showing how a majority of the state's ICU capacity regions are very, very low. With that, Bettina, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Rachel. And yeah, it's a startling reality to be operating in, but that's where we're at right now. So we need to be really clear-headed about that and be aware of the fact that right now is the place at which it has been the most, the disease is circulating more in our community than it ever has at any point. With that in mind, there is another light at the end of the tunnel, though, and that is the vaccine rollout. I'm sure that many of you have been in a situation where you're watching the vaccine rollout for California, and I thought I would share this slide from the different phases. And I know that we've been living through tiers and colors and regions, and there's a lot of different frameworks that have been dropped on us recently. But this one, if you've gotten kind of fatigued for paying attention to which set of state guidelines you fall into, I do encourage you to look up and find out where you fit. Whether you're in phase 1A, phase 1B, or phase 1C for the vaccine. The state of California released a goal on Friday to vaccinate 1 million people in, I believe, 1 week, or even 4 days was the goal. So the vaccine is coming out. And my understanding from SLO County, and if there's anybody from the county on the call who wants to speak directly to this, is that our county has done a really good job of getting people vaccinated. We got the vaccinations in our hot little fists, or in our hospital coolers rather, back in December, and those have already been administered to a lot of our frontline workers. So if you want to learn more about this, the California website, ca.covid.gov, is a great place to look. Also, if you check out the Wednesday at 3:15 county public health department updates. That's also a great way to learn about when you can get vaccinated. A little bit more about the relief, the economic relief that's coming out. We know that there is federal relief coming. We also know that last week there is a giant roadblock in terms of our Congress and Senate's ability to really focus on economic relief with the events of last week at the Capitol in DC. So I am reporting on this, which is really kind of in the hands of a lot of the state and the lawmakers in the state as the funds trickle down. But there is a $900 billion stimulus/omnibus package, which was signed into law on December 27th. And the package includes restarting that $300 weekly boost to unemployment for unemployed people. And that is now in effect in California. The California EDD sent out a notification that that's going forward starting today. The Paycheck Protection Program is extended, and the second round of that will go live. Check with your bank about the launch of that program, as well as any forgiveness programs. And then there's $20 billion in small business grants, and we don't know what that's going to look like yet. There's also $15 billion to live event venues, and this is going to be critically important, not just to our downtown, because we know that live events are where people gather and they're frequently in urban areas, but also across the downtowns across the country. I am on the International Downtown Association. I had a call just before this meeting, and we were talking a lot about how to help those venues come back. And an interesting way of thinking about it is that a lot of these event venues are now going to be in startup mode, even for some theaters and venues that may have been in operation for many decades, or in some cases, hundreds of years. There is stimulus payments, direct stimulus payments, and that has begun to get distributed. It's dropping into people's checking accounts if they have direct deposit, and checks are being mailed. So you can check to see if you qualify for that. The size of the benefit is exactly the same as the last round of stimulus checks, or rather not the way the benefit is determined. So if you earned more than $75,000 in 2019, you're not eligible. And then, of course, there's additional funding for vaccine distribution and coronavirus testing, which our focus in the next couple of months is going to be on getting vaccinated, getting tested, and slowing the spread. And there's also some more benefits for people who are experiencing food insecurity, including SNAP, which is known in California as CalFresh. There is also a California state relief grant program, and the deadline for that, we've talked about this the last couple of weeks, the deadline for that is this Wednesday at midnight. I successfully applied on behalf of Downtown SLO last week. So if anybody has any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer what my experience was. And I hope that you're having good luck. There were some issues around this from the rollout with the Lendistry platform, but I believe those have been resolved. So good luck to all of you. Please apply for this. It's a brand new program, and it's really focused on supporting the businesses who've been most affected by COVID. It is also Restaurant Month, and we're always encouraging people to get takeout and support our local restaurants so that they can survive and continue when we emerge from this disaster to be a draw for people coming downtown. And in January, this looks a little bit different. So there's 3-course takeout menus, great prices, great deals, and great menus. We encourage you to look. We have some menus posted on our Instagram, and you can also follow along on our business directory at downtownslo.com to support local restaurants. So with that, we're going to move into our speakers coming up. And so Courtney Kino, welcome to this Monday. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks, Bettina, and good morning, all. I really appreciate your updates every week, Bettina, and how thoroughly you make sure you get us all the information. It's really appreciated, and I always learn a few things, so thank you for that. As of January 8th, which is Friday, we've had a total of 959 confirmed COVID-19 cases at Cal Poly. That's from the last year and this year. We updated our dashboard this week, which you can find at coronavirus.calpoly.edu, to separate out winter quarter numbers We have 31 total positive tests that so far this quarter, of which we're beginning the second week of. There are 14 students currently in isolation, 4 in quarantine, and 15 in quarantine in place. As I mentioned last week, this quarter looks very similar to the fall, with about 4,500 students living on campus in de-densified housing. We have most of our courses held virtually, with about 10.5% held in person. Also, as I mentioned last week, students who live on or have any on-campus interaction or presence were required to get a test within 3 days of coming to our community immediately upon their arrival, and then are required to test twice per week throughout the quarter. All students who don't fit into that category of coming onto campus or living with someone who comes onto campus, and our faculty and staff, are strongly encouraged to regularly test as well. We will soon begin saliva testing, which will allow us to test up to about 4,000 students a day. And we anticipate wastewater testing to begin soon as well at 5 different sites on campus. We expanded our on-campus isolation capacity by 50 beds, so we have a total of 236 now. And those are all the updates I have for today. Thanks.
Thank you, Courtney. Are there any students currently in those isolation beds that you've increased?
Yes, we have 14 students that are in isolation and 4 in quarantine. So those are all people who are taking up those beds.
Great. And I know that the quarter just started last week, so
Yes.
you might not have the answer to this yet, but is there any guidance coming from the state of California, the trustees, about what the summer quarter or what the fall quarter might look like?
Yes. So summer quarter at this point, and I've heard Dr. Penny Bornstein say this so many times, but it's really hard to predict tomorrow in these times. But what we're looking at right now and planning for is for summer to be very similar to what fall and now winter quarter have looked like. But then for fall we're planning on being mostly in person. And that was Chancellor White made that announcement in December with anticipating everything happening with vaccines and being able to operate more like normal by fall.
And speaking of vaccines, is there, do you know what category, and there are those tiers that I was just talking about, where do college students who live in congregate living situations fall?
Yes, so that is the question of the hour. I am representing higher education on the county's vaccine task force, so representing Cal Poly and Cuesta College. And we have been trying to get guidance from the state on if those students, so the chart that you put up earlier, education and those at high risk within education are considered to be in that first tier of phase 1B, which the county has been saying they will start to be able to vaccinate by the end of the month. But we don't have confirmation yet that we are going to be included there. So the real answer is we don't know right now, but we are definitely, that's one of our most pressing questions at this point, as not only our students who are in congregate living facilities, but all of our employees who have significant interaction with students. So housing staff, food services, and all of those different categories that have a lot of interaction with students.
That's great. And maybe this is a conversation you and I should have in private, but I'm just going to drop this on, is if you're talking about food service workers on campus, it would be great if we could advocate as well for restaurant employees and all service employees to be maybe accelerated up that vaccination tier as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely make note of that and can bring it up at the task force meeting this week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Great update, and we'll look forward to see. I know we've seen a lot more foot traffic downtown this last week, and especially over the weekend. Just people getting their coffee and walking around and hopefully shopping in their shops. But it's true. They're back. So thanks, Courtney.
Sure.
All right, up next, we have a special presentation from Jennifer Rice from the city of San Luis Obispo, and she is going to be sharing with us some very exciting news about a paving project. And yes, I said very exciting news about a paving project. This is something that's been in the work. It's not necessarily COVID related, but we're excited that you're here, Jennifer, and we'll let you take the floor now.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. So let me try quickly to share my screen, and I let Rachel know this may or may not work. Let's see here. Okay, can you guys see this screen? And does it show the downtown paving?
It does, but we can't see you.
Let's see. Get my video going.
There we are. Hello.
I know I need to change. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm not as used to Zoom. How can I change my background on the Zoom?
Oh, that's okay. We won't judge you.
Well, okay, my husband sets up silly ones with his friends and I can see that's what's on mine right now. So how about I will just stay without my video. I apologize. But anyway, thanks for having me today. So I'll just try to keep you entertained with my PowerPoint presentation then. So I'm Jennifer Rice. I'm a transportation planner engineer with the city of San Luis Obispo, and thanks for letting me have some time today. I just wanted to introduce to you guys and get the conversation started about the downtown paving project that we have coming up over the next couple of years. So the project, it's a capital project. It's currently in design. It'll be happening during the summers of 2021 and 2022. And this presentation, again, is just to kind of let you know what to expect and then strategize on how we can best communicate and just set up those lines of communication throughout each stage of the project. So this design stage, and then probably more importantly, just during the construction stage. So the project itself, the scope, is to repave and reseal Higuera and Marsh Streets. And so this map shows a little bit of what those limits are. For this meeting, since it's with the downtown community, I'm showing the limits from Higuera and Marsh Street over on the west side up to Pepper Street. On Marsh Street, the limits actually will go up to California Street, but just for this image, I kind of cropped it at Pepper. Everything other than that core that's identified in blue is planned to be redone this summer. I keep saying next summer, but we're already coming up on it quickly. So 2021, this coming summer, will be those areas of Higuera and Marsh that are outside of the downtown core. And then inside of that downtown core between Napomo and Santa Rosa will be done over the summer of 2022. And both of those projects typically last about 5 to 6 months. So they'll start in the summer and then typically kind of wrap up towards the end of the year. So the goal of the project to reconstruct and reseal Higuera and Marsh Streets through the downtown while increasing accessibility and safety for all roadway users. So the project objectives, and I'll walk through these individually too, to repair damaged pavement and potholes, improve ADA access within the downtown, improve safety and access for pedestrians and bicyclists, minimize impacts to on-street parking, minimize impacts to businesses during construction, and then implement elements of the downtown concept plan where feasible. So the primary objective, of course, just to repair the damaged pavement and potholes. So this will be a combination of reconstruction as well as slurry seal, just depending on what the condition of the pavement is. The reconstruction is a lot of work that happens, and so those components, the reconstruction portion will be primarily on the west side of downtown on Marsh and Higuera, west of Napomo. So those will be a little bit bigger of efforts and take a little bit more time in one location, as opposed to the slurry seal, which is usually a couple days in one area. The next objective is to provide ADA access and improve ADA access in the downtown. So with each slurry project, the city does take a look at the existing on-street ADA parking supply just to ensure that we're meeting current standards for providing those accessible facilities. And many of the blocks in the downtown actually don't have accessible on-street parking. So this project will be adding those in as necessary, and that will really just ensure that the people that need assistance accessing the downtown businesses actually have that ability and they're able to do it conveniently. In addition to on-street ADA parking, we'll be upgrading some of the ramps. So most of the ramps in the downtown already meet ADA requirements. There's about 6 that we'll be upgrading, and all of those are on Marsh and Higuera on the west side of Napomo. Again, that area of downtown has seen a lot of development in the last several years. So, and a lot of that is new housing. So these ramp improvements will really ensure that those tenants are able to comfortably access the downtown and the different destinations downtown. And the next objective, anytime we have repaving and resealing projects, it's always a good opportunity to look for how we can use striping just to improve the bicycle and pedestrian facilities. So I'll start with highlighting some of the pedestrian improvements that we're going to be doing. So we'll be adding some high visibility crosswalks at key locations, and then adding other features to increase the visibility of people crossing the street. So advanced yield lines and striped bulb outs, adding some push button activated flashing signs. But the primary safety enhancement for pedestrians that I want to point out is that we're going to be striping a new lane configuration on both Higuera and Marsh. And it's shown in that little graphic at the bottom there. We're going to go from the 3 travel lanes to 2 travel lanes for both Higuera and Marsh. And this is something that over the years we've called out for in different planning efforts, the downtown concept plan, the circulation element, most recently the active transportation plan. And let's see, so on Higuera Street, we've already been able to experience this. So from Napomo and from Santa Rosa to Napomo, I guess, if you're traveling on Higuera, we've already striped that down to 2 lanes just over the past 6 months. So we've been able to experience it just a little bit. But in addition to that, the city hired an outside consultant. We hired GHC to prepare a traffic analysis just to determine if this configuration would lead to any new congestion deficiencies. And what their study found was that it doesn't, and that the downtown intersections and segments will still operate acceptably, even with the full build out of the city's general plan. So with that said, what the benefit is to the pedestrian experience is it pretty much makes it 1/3 more convenient and safer to cross the street. So you only need to negotiate with 2 lanes of travel rather than 3. And then in addition to the bulb outs, the pedestrians will be even more visible to drivers along the corridor. And this is really important. Depending how long you've been in the city, you may know that we have experienced a couple pedestrian fatalities in our downtown. And so this type of configuration is just going to really reduce the likelihood of that happening in the future. Let's see. And then in addition to the pedestrian improvements, The project gives us the opportunity to restripe the bike lanes through the downtown to just enhance the safety and comfort for not only people biking, but also people driving. So on the left side picture, that's Higuera Street, what it looks like right now between Santa Rosa and Napomo. So this configuration on Higuera will stay the same as it is now. We found that this configuration, it's been comfortable for people riding bikes. It doesn't hinder the city's support of the new parklets that we've put in. And then it also ensures adequate width for emergency services to be able to effectively access that stretch there between Santa Rosa and Napomo. And then outside of that core, the rest of Higuera, and actually the same as Marsh, it's a little bit wider than in this particular stretch of Higuera. So where we have a little bit more room to play with, what we're proposing to do is to stripe a parking protected bike lane. And so that's what's shown in the picture on the right hand side. And what that means is basically it's just swapping the bike lane with the parking lane. And you may have seen this before. It's increasingly common in other cities, or it may be new to you because it will also be the first of this kind of facility in SLO. But there's a lot of benefits to this. So by separating the bike lane from the travel lane, it just increases that comfort and safety for people on their bikes. And these are the types of facilities that community has been asking us for. It's demonstrated through many surveys and workshops and planning efforts that we've done, and budget settings, and then of course the most recent active transportation plan. And this type of configuration reduces the number of vehicles that'll be crossing the bike lane. For example, you won't have to drive across the bike lane to access where you're going to park. So it's eliminating that conflict altogether. And then it takes away or reduces the likelihood of the dooring collision. So you can see in the picture here, since there is a buffer area between the parked car and the bike lane, people opening their car doors, they're not opening it into the bike lane. And then it also makes it easier for drivers to see people on bikes when they're turning. So it may seem counterintuitive because you're putting the parked cars in between the bike lane and the travel lane, so it may seem like it's making it harder to see. But actually you're taking the bike lane out from being in the blind spot of the travel lane. So in this picture shows it a little bit, where if you were a car driving down and making a right-hand turn, you've actually increased your sight triangle and your visibility triangle of where you can see people on their bikes. So instead of the bikes just coming up right behind you and your blind spot, before you're making your turn, you have a clear line of sight to those people on their bike. So this type of configuration actually reduces the conflicts between the vehicles turning right and then bicyclists traveling straight. And bike collisions in SLO are the most concentrated in the downtown core. So these improvements are really meant to just target those high collision locations. Okay, and then the next objective, to minimize impacts to on-street parking. So I do want to be transparent, and I can't say that there's going to be absolute no loss to on-street parking. Many of our on-street parking spaces right now don't meet current standards, and if we were just going to restripe everything to meet our current standards, we would likely already see some kind of reduction in on-street parking. That said, we definitely know how critical on-street parking is and available parking is to having a successful downtown. So we're going to do what we can to minimize any of these impacts. And I can say there's no part of the plan that is just saying to eliminate any large stretches of parking. That's not something that we're talking about. Probably where we'll see adjustments is going to be near driveways, where right now the parking probably goes right up adjacent to the edge of the driveway, and it makes it really difficult for cars to get in and out of those driveways. And that's not consistent with our city standards, so probably those types of areas are going to be where we're going to see some adjustments in the parking. And then some other strategies that we will be doing to minimize those impacts. As I had mentioned, we'll be adding those ADA spaces so that those who do need the assistance accessing the businesses have that assistance, and then people that can walk and are physically able to do that, they can park in any of the parking garages. And then the city has also been increasing bicycle parking in the downtown over the last several months. And then the city will also continue promotion of other programs like the Downtown Access Pass, where those people who work in the downtown can continue to use SLO transit for free. And then the next objective, to minimize impacts to businesses during construction. So this is the area that I think I could really use your help on. And I don't put these pictures here to bring up any bad memories, but I do think that we've had a lot of recent experiences in the downtown where there have been lessons learned. And I want to hear from the downtown community and from you about what would be helpful and what you would like to see during construction, and whether that's specific communication platforms or traffic control concerns that you have, or signage that would be helpful, or just different curbside management ideas. I think those are things that would be helpful so that, you know, the city can always be working with the downtown businesses on how to make the project successful, but minimize any impacts during construction to the businesses. And then the last objective, just to implement elements of the downtown concept plan where feasible. So most of these I've already touched on, but for the most part, we look to the downtown's concept plan to see like where the pedestrian crossings should go, what types of crossing treatments they should have, what the bike network looks like through the downtown, and things like that. So that's a super quick overview of a really big project. So I want to have a little bit of time for some questions, but also just to ask you to please stay engaged and stay on the lookout for additional project information that's coming out. And definitely a successful project is going to be one where the downtown community is involved every step of the way, particularly, of course, during construction. And I know that successful projects are ones where you feel comfortable reaching out to the city and providing honest feedback. So my contact information's here, and I want you to contact me anytime to share your frustrations or concerns or anything. And I don't expect you to love everything about the project, and you may already have some concerns. So I just want to be able to provide you the information, or just so we can work together on finding a solution how to move the project forward. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions. I'm sure there's a lot, or just any feedback too. I'm just really hoping that this conversation just starts off everything.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. We really appreciate the thorough presentation, and I may have felt brief to you, but I think we got a lot of detail that we would not have gotten if we just, read about it quickly in an e-blast or something. So we got a couple of questions in the chat, and then I have a couple of questions as well. Let's address the questions in the chat first. There was one, is there an opportunity to repair the broken Saltillo tile as well?
And is that on the sidewalk?
Yes, that's okay. the brown.
So I also have on the line with me the project manager, Brian Rodriguez. He's an engineer in the Capital, in our Capital program. So if Brian's on the line, he would probably know more specifically about if that particular piece is in this scope. And I know I saw Brian on here earlier.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm on here. So as Jennifer mentioned, my name is Brian Rodriguez. I'm with CIP, Capital Improvement Projects, and I'm managing this project. At the moment, we don't have in our plans to be fixing the tile. The tile is it's damaged throughout the whole downtown, and I think we have an independent contractor doing some of that work. So mostly the project's focused on the pavement and on the ADA upgrades. So if the tile happens to be in one of the curb ramps that we're going to be updating, then it'll get fixed up to the limits of that curb ramp.
Okay, thanks. Well, I know there's an interest from our community that Sotil tile is such a part of our visual identity. So thanks for keeping that in mind as you move forward. Another question was, is there a plan to repave Monterey Street, particularly around the intersection of Monterey and Johnson?
There is a plan to fix the Monterey from the 101 entrance to where it meets at Mission Plaza. And that's going to be a feature project.
Okay, great. So not included in this round, but will come later?
Correct. And this go around, we're doing the sections that Jennifer mentioned, which are on Higuera from Pepper to Santa Rosa, and then on Marsh from Santa Rosa to California. That's one component, and that's a slurry seal. Then the other component is the Nipomo to the March Higuera intersection on both streets, and that's going to be a remove and replace.
Okay, great, thank you. And then I have a couple of questions. Thank you for addressing the issue of street parking going away. I know that's going to be a topic of discussion for certain. And I'm curious if you could give some insight into why the project is slated to begin over the summer. That is our typical heavy tourism season. And if we're going to be emerging from COVID, I think there are going to be some concerns about impacting the ability of people to visit businesses where they are wanting to do that. Can you talk a little bit about the timing, Jennifer?
Well, I can talk about it. Usually our paving projects run in the summer. That's when our fiscal budget comes in. And it's also a great opportune time to do it because the weather, there's hardly any rain during the summer. So that's our main reason why most of our paving projects are done in the summer. Okay,
great. And then we at Downtown SLO, we have trees. We have the tree lights on Higuera that are part of our program. And my understanding is that there's conduit under the sidewalks that enables those trees to be powered. I'm wondering if there would be an opportunity in this project to install additional electrical conduit so that more trees could be lit up.
We haven't gone through that that aspect of adding new conduit. I think our focus for the sidewalk at least is just the curb ramps. So most of the curb ramps are located at the corners, and so new conduit to run through the whole sidewalk. I'm not sure how much we can do with that since we're just doing the curb ramps.
Okay, great. Any other questions out there? We've got Jennifer's information in the chat, and we do have some more speakers for today. So thank you to both of you for your work on this project. We look forward to seeing it come to fruition, and we will do what we can to spread the word.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, up next, we're going to invite another representative from the city, Lee Johnson. How are you this morning, Lee?
Morning, Bettina. Doing well. How about you?
Doing well.
All right. Couple quick things. Just a reminder that we have the community forum on Thursday, starting at 6 o'clock. Basically, that's the beginning of the 2-year budget cycle. So that's where we start gathering input, getting the ideas of the things that we're going to do over the next 2 years. And so a lot of you will remember at the time we do the DOT exercises. With the pandemic, we won't be able to necessarily do that, but we will be able to do it as we normally do it. But the format will be very similar, basically a welcome and some instructions and things like that. And then breakout sessions and stations covering everything from homelessness to climate action, open space housing, downtown, etc. Everyone will have the chance to ask questions, give input, And then that will then be opened up over the next few days after the forum for the chance for everyone to vote for the things that they feel are most important. And all of that guidance goes to the city council to help them set the budget goals and all those things for the next 2 years. So it's really one of the most important things we do. We've done a lot of work to try and make the technology have this technology facilitate what we're doing. And we've been practicing, so hopefully it goes relatively smoothly, but it should be interesting in a lot of ways. So please check it out and join us.
You have to register in advance, Lee, or can you just show up?
I think you just click the link and you end up there and you sign your way in, and you can come and go to the various breakout rooms, all that stuff. They've also moved kind of the public comment where lots of people speak to the very end, which is a little bit more user friendly because a lot of people just want to come learn, give some input, and then move on, and you don't have to sit through all the public comment. So it should be pretty good. The technology is actually, I'm a little bit on the older side, so it's like magic to me, but it works pretty well. It works really well, actually. So it's good. It's gonna be. Should be good stuff. I will be in the downtown Vitality breakout session. So feel free to join me there and ask questions. Also, the grant program closed on Friday. I'm sure Jim will have some more information on that, but we will be working to narrow down the applications into the winning group and get that information out to people and those checks cut as quickly as we can. Along with Restaurant Month, the Buy Local bonus program is still going. Please save your receipts, and then you can reach out to support local at slocity.org with those receipts, and you get your $20 gift card. We have, I think, probably north of 1,000 people have participated so far. The latest data I had was through December 31st, and that was at like 700. So I think we probably hit 1,000 or pretty close. We have 120 businesses lined up to participate, so a lot of good stuff happening there. And please tell your friends and family, and it will continue at least for the month of January and hopefully into February and March. Otherwise, that is it for me today. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thanks, Lee. We'll look forward to the community forum on Thursday. And then is there anything at City Council tomorrow night that would be related to downtown that we should be aware of?
I don't think so, but what I'll do is I'll check the agenda while we move on, and if there's something, I'll drop it in the chat.
Great, thanks so much, appreciate that. All right, and up next, Jim D'Antona, seamlessly taking that intro from Lee. Welcome, how are you today?
Good seeing you, glad to be here today. Certainly, well, right up, that was my first piece, was on the grants. Obviously closed Friday at 5 p.m. We had over 400 applications. I can already tell will be in for the 100 grants. So it will definitely be a process to look through and figure out who those are given to. Obviously, the prioritization from the city and the chamber is those who've been most affected, full closure kind of idea. And so, but there will be a review process, and we'll, by January 31st, hopefully we'll have all of those people notified and checks cut for the folks out there that were the recipients of the grant. Additionally, we are also, from the chamber's side, though we have postponed our annual dinner, we're getting hopefully see some of these vaccinations roll out, and so we can get a better kind of sense on timing when we can do this. But we are taking the nominations for Citizen of the Year. So do you know someone who has gone above and beyond? And usually we want to look at someone who has to do something, who's done something that wasn't part of their job, that they didn't get paid for. This is kind of, or overall throughout their life have done amazing things. So we would love to have you submit their name for a nomination by January 29th. So feel free to hop over there, put that in. We're getting that process underway so that when we're ready for our annual dinner, which is coming, We will also have our Citizen of the Year for 2020. And obviously a lot of great folks to be recognized during this extremely challenging time. And then finally we have, obviously I was just, again, Lee and I should get together and just put all this together for you in one step. It's, yeah, the Buy Local bonus program, still going. We want to make sure folks know that there is, it didn't end in the holidays, still happening. So if you spend $100 or more, keep that receipt in our city, and go ahead and email your receipt to us. We will then give you a link to claim your gift card, and we can get that gift card to you. So yeah, as Lee said, this definitely will go through definitely the end of this month and maybe into February and March. So keep buying, keep promoting it to your customers. It's a great way to get folks down and give them a little bonus for spending money at your shops. And we still have the cards available to do. So hopefully have a chance to get your economic incentives driven through the city's work. It's been amazing.
Thanks, Jim. And I actually qualified twice personally. So I got two $20 gift cards for two different businesses, which made me feel like a double mint twin, you know, double your pleasure.
And you were getting to go one more time during this program. Yeah, so as Jackie was asking, you put right into it. It's not just one time. You can do it up to a maximum of 3 times. Has to be separate receipts. Again, to qualify, the $100 of purchases has to come in separate. So you couldn't do $300 in one purchase and then count that 3 times. So as you were just saying, Bettina, come down, you do a clump of purchases, get 1 gift card, do another clump of purchases, get another gift card, and then potentially do another bunch of purchases and get a 3rd gift card. So we're still working through all of that. So if there's anything obviously we can do to help, let us know. If you have any questions, give us a call over at the chamber or an email. More than happy to help you as from the business side get set up. But we've been talking to all of our businesses and saying, promote this, and it's a great way to have folks come spend $100 at your business and then get a bonus for it. So that's all I have for today.
Great, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. And up next, we've got Judy Mahan from the SBDC. Hello and Happy New Year, Judy. You there?
Yes.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm unmuting myself. Hi, hello everyone, good morning. So good to see everyone. So I'm going to share my screen and provide some updates on support programs, loan programs for our local businesses. Okay, let's see. Let me pull up the right screen in the background so I can switch directly to it. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay. And I'm trying to figure out how to switch to presentation mode. So we're not using our traditional.
In the upper right, it says present. And if you click that by the share.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Is this working, Bettina? I don't think so.
It's not quite working. X out of that screen, go back to the one you were just at.
This,
Try that one. There you go.
There we go. Perfect. Okay, great. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to move everyone's beautiful faces out of the way. Okay. So I'm Judy Mahan, Economic Development Director for the Cal Poly Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Let's see. And I'm trying to There we go. So through the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, we're one of 1,000 centers throughout the U.S. We're here to support businesses. Anyone can sign up with us as a client. It's a service that is completely free to every business owner here in San Luis Obispo County. We help connect businesses with sources of funding. Right now, that's been our priority since March of 2020, making sure that our local businesses can connect with lenders for PPP loans, apply for the EIDL loans. And we now have a program that's available right now that's live with the California grant relief loan program that was launched on December 30th and is open until January 13th. So I'm going to spend some time talking about that. The California Relief Grant. As mentioned, new applications can be launched anytime between now up until January 13th, so we have a couple days left. For people who started their application early, there was definitely some huge issues with the portal, as there have been with prior programs. The portals get swamped with applications and are unable to process. So anyone who's done applications starting on December 30th was likely not able to upload documents to complete their application. It should be available right now. They've expanded the server capacities, so applications you should be able to go back into your account and do your uploads now. So companies have until midnight, January 13, to complete the application. There is going to be a second round of funding for the California Relief Grant. We don't know the exact dates quite yet. It will be highly likely during the month of February. So stay connected, stay in tune. If you do sign up with us as clients, by the way, we send out e-blasts on a daily basis, providing updates on deadlines, on links to applications, on guidelines on how to apply. So even if you don't need coaching or consulting, do sign up. You will be the first to receive information on how to apply. And here at the bottom of the slide, CAReliefgrant.com is where you'll be able to find a lot of detailed information as well. Basically, there are only three things you need to do to actually start your account, open it up, and be considered for the program, for the grant. You fill out the application, just basic information, the name of your business, your address, etc. One tax return, your most recently filed tax return. If you have not yet filed for 2020, 2019 is fine. For nonprofits, there are certain forms you do need to submit as well. So that's important to note. This grant program is available to for-profit businesses and nonprofits, and you'll need to provide some type of photo ID. And then once your application is in, then you have a bit more time to provide additional documentation. So they will ask for, when I say corporate governance documents, by that it's likely to be your articles of incorporation, proof that you're a certified legal entity that has filed with the California Secretary of State. And then for nonprofits, your tax exemption letter. And of course, you will need to provide bank information so that the grants can be awarded as quickly as possible. Let's see. Trying to see. Here we go. So here are a few tips that we've found have helped applicants move forward with this grant. It seems like the Google Chrome browser is the browser you need to be using to actually get into the portal. There are emails that do seem to get bounced back, generic emails, so try to use a personal email. I had an example with a client who started an application, couldn't get back in. It got really messy. So what we decided to do is we just had her create another a personal email on Gmail. You can set up a Gmail email in 30 seconds. So if you're having issues with email, if you need to create a new email, just go on Gmail and create a new one and use that. And then that can be your specific go-to email inbox for all grant-related information. So it is helpful to set it up that way. Make sure you do good scans of your documents. There's lots of options available on your phones. There's an app. I mean, I'm just giving ideas. I don't have a personal interest in any of these apps, but Tiny Scanner works really well. There is an option to scan if you have an iPhone through Notes. If you look at Notes, there's an option there to do scanning directly on your iPhone without having to download any extra apps as well. You will need to download the application certification form at some point. So that's something to be aware. It's not going to be automatically saved. So make sure you download and that you save into your into a Google Drive or onto your onto your desktop. And then make sure that once you think you've completed your application, go back into your account, double check, make sure it is complete. There's signals that pop up on the portal to show that it's whether or not it's been complete. Let's see. So the good news, the EIDL loan is still available, and that program is going to keep running until December 31st, 2021. The one difference as compared to 2020 is that the advances are no longer available. So originally the grant provided a $10,000 advance. That was a grant, a portion of the loan that did not need to be reimbursed. That portion is no longer available. However, the loan itself is. It's a very easy, simple application online. If any of the, I know some of the links here are a little complicated to write down or hard to capture, feel free to email us directly at, I'll provide, so the email information is here at the bottom of the slide. Sorry, I have things that are covering it, but it's slowsbdc@gmail.com. slosbdc@gmail.com. So any links that you need for any of these programs, just feel free to email us directly. Back to EIDL. So the terms have not changed. The loan terms are still for businesses, for-profit businesses, 3.75%, 2.75% for nonprofits. The term can be extended to 30 years, no prepayment penalty fees. There are priorities that will be given to businesses with less than 300 employees. So that's also good news for our local small businesses. Also businesses located in low-income neighborhoods and the ones that have experienced the most dramatic reduction in gross receipts. At this point, you are able to go back to any 8-week period from March 2nd to December 31st of 2020. So if you pick the worst receipts period during that time, the best consideration you will get during the application process. So back to the third program that is still available, the Paycheck Protection Program. That one is still available as well. Similar eligibility requirements than the EIDL loan, 300 or fewer employees, loss in gross receipts, any quarter of 2020 as compared to any quarter in 2019, sorry. So some flexibility there. Again, they have not changed the actual loan amounts. They have increased it slightly for any businesses that are in accommodation food services. So that's the good news. All other businesses, it is 2.5 times your average monthly payroll, which is what it was in 2020. But they have increased the amount for businesses that are in accommodation and food service and the food service industry. It's still maxed out at $2 million per business. Again, if you want more information or assistance in connecting with lenders and working through the application process, feel free to email us at slowsbdc@gmail.com. Let's see. we do have a few events coming up. Do join us. We're still active. There's still lots of awesome programs going on here at the SBDC. We have Coffee and Conversation on Wednesday. Again, if you sign up with us, there'll be e-blasts and lots of information about the program. The conversation on Wednesday is Steve, Eric, and Simon Arkell will be talking. This is a really cool story about someone who had a massive pivot in their business, who went from potential near bankruptcy to a pretty phenomenal pivot and was able to capture a phenomenal opportunity due to COVID, and is doing amazingly well right now. So tune in, listen in. These are good, inspiring stories that help us think outside of the box and figure out best ways to reinvent ourselves to adapt to our current environment, our current business environment. Again, all the information you share with us is kept completely confidential. There's no cost. We are funded by the SBA and by GoBiz, by the California GoBiz department. There's absolutely no obligations. We're here to help as best we can. Feel free to connect with us, and I'm happy to try and answer a few questions if we have time, Bettina.
Thanks, Judy. I have a couple of questions about the PPP. Is it necessary that if you received a PPP before, that you've already filed for the forgiveness if you want to apply for the next round?
Let me do a stop share. So are you saying, do you have to have applied for forgiveness before you can apply for a second round of PPP?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that question, so I'll find out.
Would that be something that the bank might know?
They should, because you do have to apply through the bank for the second round regardless. So if there's a requirement that the forgiveness process should have been started, the bank, I mean, I would imagine that would be part of the checklist that the bank would go through. But I will find out. I'm happy to talk to some of our local bankers and get more info on that and share with you so we can e-blast to clients and to local businesses. Yeah.
Great. And through your channels, have you heard anything about the additional stimulus package grants that were included in the omnibus that passed last month?
Yeah, so we're trying to get more information. There are a couple of other grants that are coming through as well. There's a special one that's been carved out for businesses that, were open for live venues. So there is a chunk of funding that has been specifically earmarked for that. So those businesses will be prioritized for that grant. It's not live yet, but that it has been approved. So that's something to keep an eye out for. We'll definitely e-blast info as soon as it goes live. But we're pretty hopeful with that grant to be able to help there's a lot of local venues here on the Central Coast that did perform live venues that could benefit from that.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks for being with us. It's been a little while, so it's nice to see you again. And thanks for coming back. We're happy to see more relief coming for our small businesses. So, and thank you to all of you who stayed with us for the last, 70 minutes. We've gone a little bit over our time today. So I do just want to remind everybody that we do these meetings weekly at 10 a.m. on Mondays, except next Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So we will be taking the day off. And our next meeting will be January 25th. So if you enjoyed what you learned here today, please tell a friend and invite them. We want to have as many downtown stakeholders as we can join in our efforts to respond and recover from COVID-19 and our current reality. So thank you all. I hope you have a beautiful week and enjoy the sunshine. It's peeking through there. And we look forward to seeing you around downtown.